Hello everyone. In this video we're going to look at the lowest common multiple and the highest common factor. The lowest common multiple is the smallest number that can divide into all the numbers. Remember that a multiple is the answer of the multiplication. So if I say 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. 3, 6, 9 are the multiples of 3. In the same way, the multiples of 5 is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Now the question is, what is the lowest common multiple? What is the first multiple that the two numbers share that is the smallest, so the closest to 0? Looking at our example, the lowest common multiple of 3 and 5 is 15. Here we can see that the first number So what we can see here is that the first number for 3 is 15 and the second number for 3 is 5. We're going to look at how to calculate that number when you are given numbers. The next is the highest common factor. So the common factor is the highest number that can be divided into all the numbers. The highest common factor for 8 and 4 is the number 4. So we are looking at this section here. So it is 4 divided by 4, and this section here is the factor. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Therefore, the highest common factor that they both share is 4. Let's find out what is the LCM and the HCF for 12 and 20. So what we have here is the two numbers 12 and 20. The first thing we want to do is find the prime factors. So I'm going to start with the number 12, and I am going to divide it by 2. 12 divided by 2 is going to give me 6. I'm going to divide it by 2. 2 divided by 6 is 3. I'm going to divide 3 by 3, and my final response is 1. Having done this tree method, what I know is now my factors are going to be the numbers on this side. Those are my factors. So I'm going to write my factors out as 2 times 2 times 3. Those are the factors of 12. Okay? Let's do 20. So I'm going to divide 20 by 2, which gives me 10. I'm going to divide 10 by 2, which gives me 5. And I'm going to divide 5 by 5, which gives me 1. So my factors for 20 is going to be the numbers on this side, and those factors are written as 20's factors are 2 times 2 times 5. This is step 1. You have to get the prime factors. Now step 2, getting the LCM. The easiest way that I do this is to draw a Venn diagram. So I'm going to show you how to do this. Let's assume that you've got one black square and you have got one blue square. And these two squares represent the number 20 and the number 12. Now, I'm looking at my factors over here, and what I see is that the first thing I see is that the number 2, the number 2 is shared by both. The second number 2 is shared by both, and the 3 and the 5 are separate. So those numbers that are shared, I am going to place in the middle. So I've got a 2, that's those two, and I've got another 2. That's those two. I've got two 2's in the middle. Then I have a 3. It goes on the black side. And I have a 5, which goes on the blue side. Right. So I've got 3, 2, 2, 5. My LCM is going to be equal to all the numbers. If you just read the numbers left to right, you multiply all the numbers. So I'm going to say 3 times 2 times 2 times 5. Notice I've got the 3, the 2, the 2, the 5. I multiply all those numbers together, and that gives me my LCM. This is 60. Next up, I'm going to do my highest common factor, and this one is really straightforward. All you're going to do is to take the ones that are shared. So the numbers that are shared is 2 times 2, which equals to 4. And that is how you answer LCM HCF. Let's start by factorizing 24. So I can factorize 24. If you think about all the numbers that can divide into 24, the first one that I think of is like 6. But 6 is not a prime number, so I will not use 6. The easiest thing to do is just to start with 2. So 2 goes into 24 12 times, and 2 goes into 12 6 times, and 2 goes into 6 3 times, and 3 goes into 3 once. So my factors for 24 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Let's factorize 32. 2 goes into 32 16 times. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 2 goes into 4 2 times, and 2 goes into 2 once. So remember, our objective is to end with the number 1 here at the bottom. That's the end goal. But we now know that our factors are the numbers over here on the left hand side. So let's write our factors for 32. So the factors for 32 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 5 2's. Right. Thank you. The next thing I want to see is which numbers are shared. So I'm using my red highlighter, and I want to put the numbers right here in the middle where the red squiggle is. So let's start. We're going to see our first number is 2. Our second is 2. So both numbers share those 2's. The third one is 2. 3 is not shared, and the other 2 2's are not shared. So let's start with our middle numbers, which is going to be 2, that's the first one, 2, that's the second one, and 2, that's the third one. Then I'm going to write my blue numbers, which is the 24, so that's 3, and my green numbers, which is going to be 2 and 2, 2 and 2. Excellent. Now, if I want to get my LCM, I'm going to write all the numbers from left to right. 3 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now this is confusing. Oh my gosh. Let's start. 3 is the blue one. Sorry. Let's start. 3 is the blue one. Then I've got 3 2's in the middle, and I've got 2 2's at the end. 3 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 2 to the power of 5. And we saw that that is 32. So 32 times 3 is 96. So this answer is equivalent to 96. Now what do we do in order to get the highest common factor? This one is easy. We just read it. Our highest common factor are these numbers in the middle, in the red highlighted section. So it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2, and that equals to 8. And that answers your question. Let's do another one. Let's look at the third question. The numbers 225 and 315. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to factorize. So 225, I'm going to divide by 5. 5 is a prime number, so I can use it. And I get 45. 225 divided by 5 is 45. I'm going to do 5 again, and then I get 9. 9, I'm going to do 3. Divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 gives me 1. Next up, I'm going to do 315. So I'm going to divide by 5. 315 divided by 5 is 63. Now 63 I'm going to divide by 7, and I get an answer of 9. 9 divided by 3 gives me 3, and 3 divided by 3 gives me 1. So now I know that my common factors for 225, my factors for 225 is going to be 3 times 3 times 5 times 5, And 315 is going to be 3 times 3 times 5 times 7. Right. Next up, I want to know which factors are common, which ones go in the red section. So I'm going to look at each pair and see these two go together, these two go together, these two go together, and the rest do not. So let's insert our information where it belongs. Right. So in the middle, I've got 3. That's my first set. I've got 3. That's my second set. And I've got 5. That's my third set. In my blue circle, I've got 5. And in my green circle, I've got 7. Okay. Now, for me to get the lowest common factor, lowest common multiple, I need to just write down all the numbers in my Venn diagram. Okay, so I'm going to say 5 times 3 times 3 times 5 times 7, and that's going to be my lowest common multiple. So using a calculator, that is equal to 1575. And for me to get my highest common factor, all I'm going to do is I'm going to read these numbers that are in the red circle or in the red shared part, and that's going to be 3 times 3 times 5, which is 9 times 5, which equals to 45. Just want to show you again, where do we get our numbers? So our 335, where we get our numbers, our 335 are the ones in the middle, and then our blue number is the 5, and our green number is the 7. Let's do a comparison of 3 numbers. We're looking for the lowest common multiple, the highest common factor. We've got 8, 24, and 32. So let's start with 8, and we are going to factorize, and we're going to say 2 goes into 8 4 times. 4 divided by 2 equals 2. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. That's where I stop. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. That's where I stop. 32 divided by 2 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I have managed to factorize using my tree. Now I'm going to write the factors out. So for 8, I've got 2 times 2 times 2. 24, I've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. And for 32, I've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. All right. Now, what am I looking for? I start with the ones that everybody has in common. So this would be my red section. So 2 covers everyone. 2 covers everyone. 2 covers everyone. And then the 3s and the 2s don't really share any, they in single rows. So I'm going to leave those alone. So what do we do next? I'm going to write all my 3s in, all my red ones in the middle. So I've got 2, then 2, then 2. I've got 3 2s in the middle. Next up, oh, I didn't give numbers. So I've got 8 over there in the blue, and then I've got 24 in the green. So 24 has got this number there, which is 3. Write that down. And in my orange, I've got the number 32, and we've got 2 2s. So it's 2 and 2. Awesome. Now, the question is, how do I get my lowest common multiple? I need to take all the numbers from my Venn diagram. So we don't use the factorization, we use from the Venn diagram. So what do I see? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2s. So I can literally write 2 to the power of 5 multiplied by 3. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2s and 1 3, and that is going to be my lowest common multiple. This answer gives me 96. Now my highest common factor is going to be my red section that I see in the Venn diagram, and that's 2 times 2 times 2, or you can just write 2 to the power of 3, and that equals to 8. Let's try one last one for this video. So our numbers are 30, 42, and 60. Let's factorize 30. Let's change it. Let's not start with 2. Let's start with 5. 5 goes into 30. How many times? 5 times 6 is 30. Okay? So now I want to factorize 6. Let's say 6 and 3 gives me 2. And 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. Those are my factors for 30. Next up, let's try factorizing 42. 42 divided by 7 gives me 6. 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. And 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. Let's do 60. 60 divided by 5 gives me 12. 12 divided by, no, I can't say 4. Let's say 3, it gives me 4. And then 4 divided by 2 gives me 2, and 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. So I have got my factors. I've got prime factors. 30 is going to be 2 times 3 times 5. I'm doing it in the order of lowest to highest. Next up, I've got 42, and 42's factors are 2 times 3 times 7. So I'm leaving a space here by the 5. Next up, I'm going to do 60. And 60 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. And those are the factors. Next step is to identify which ones go in the red, which ones go in the center. So we've got 2. And this 2 is all by itself. We've got these 3's. And then those 5's, there are 2 5's that go into 30 and into 60. So 30 and 60, these 2 5's are sharing a space. Let's start with our red ones that go in the middle. So first I put in 1, 2, and then I put in 1, 3. Awesome. Now I want to know what goes into the shared space between 30 and 60, and that is going to be this number 5 goes in there. And let's do our colors now. So blue is for 30. I don't put anything in there. Green, I've got 42, so I need to put the 7 in there. And lastly, I've got orange for 60, and I need to put this 2 in there to make sure that all the numbers are in the Venn diagram. Lowest common multiple means that I read all the numbers in the Venn diagram. So I'm gonna, if I do it in order, let's start with 2. How many 2's are there? There's 1 2 and 2 2's. So 2 to the power of 2. I've got 1 3, so times 3. Got 1 5, so times 5. I got 1 7 times 7. That is my LCM. So 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 times 7 is equal to 420. My highest common factor, all that I do is I read the numbers right here in the middle in the red section, and that is going to be equal to 2 times 3, which is 6. Right. I hope that you understood this. I am going to give you additional questions. I want you to try them out, and then yeah, you can send me some pictures. I'll try to answer you if you're not too many.